Happy Saturday from my friendly neighborhood Wawas as we get ready to go out on an adventure. But this is not my usual hiking adventure. We are going out on what I think is probably the craziest road trip I have ever been on. We are driving to Memphis by way of Point Pleasant, West Virginia over the space of 2 days. So that's 1,000 miles halfway across the country in 2 days. I don't know if I'm looking forward to this or not. My cohorts are in the shop picking up road snacks. I've got Crow and their boyfriend Ken traveling with me. And they're the reason we're going to stop one today, which is Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Point Pleasant is the reputed home of the Mothman. And this is fulfilling a promise I made to Crow several years ago at their graduation that I would take them to see the Mothman statue. Well, here we are, it's 2022, and we are hitting the road to head down that way. So as soon as these chuckleheads come out, we're gonna hop in the car and start the very long 9-hour drive down to West Virginia. So I'll take you along with me. to the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. There's Ken, where in the 1960s, or from November 1966 to November 1967, there were a number of reported sightings of a local cryptid called the Mothman, who looked vaguely humanoid but also vaguely moth-shaped. There's another image over there. And his appearance seemed to be an indicator of disaster. And the most significant disaster associated with him was the collapse of the Silver Bridge here in Point Pleasant. And we'll be going over the replacement for that bridge. But in November 1967, that bridge collapsed, taking with it 47 lives. In that year, there was a lot of strange reportings going on. We're seeing an increased number of UFO sightings reported in the area. We're also seeing information about an appearance of the Men in Black. And we're all familiar with the movie versions of the Men in Black. From what I'm seeing here, the appearances here were a little more ominous, that these people had information about residents that they shouldn't have. Is it real? I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. It's very interesting. Obviously, people reported seeing things. I am seeing a lot of information about there having been military weapons and ammunition cache or dump here. So obviously there's a lot of comings and goings that people didn't know about. So that, I'm certain, added to some of the paranoia. And of course it was the 60s and we were in the height of the Cold War, and that was escalating everyone's nerves as well. So, but it's interesting. It's obviously gained quite the cult following. My kids are fascinated with it. We got their pictures with the statue, and they made their offerings. But cryptids are interesting as an insight into human psyche, and the things that we're afraid of, and the things that we're afraid of that we love anyway. So let me show you around a little bit more. marvelous job this evening of recording our explorations of Huntington, West Virginia. For any of you who don't know what the heck is going on here, Ken and Crow and I all listen to various podcasts produced by the McElroy family. So they do My Brother and Me, The Adventure Zone, Sawbones, Schmanners, and several other podcasts that I recommend. I love listening to each one of them for different reasons. But it's three brothers and their wives in various combinations on all of these, and we love them very much. So since we were in the area coming to Point Pleasant anyways, we decided we wanted to come to Huntington and see where the magic happens. And we went to Jolly Pirate Donuts, which the oldest brother, Justin, has recommended any number of times, so we have those for breakfast tomorrow morning. We found a really lovely restaurant. If I can get Crow to give me their pictures, we went to one of the locations that they used in their short-lived TV series. The location is called Safety Town, which is a children's educational resource for how to cross streets safely and things like that. So, and then we came back here. We are not impressed with this hotel. You get what you pay for, but I don't expect a lot from a cheap hotel, but I do expect it to be clean. Everything in here is dusty. The inside of the microwave is orange. Half the lamps have no lampshades on them. The drain doesn't have any of the hardware in it. It's really not good. I am very less than impressed with this place. They gave us a smoking room, even though I'd requested a non-smoking room, and it's just too much effort to fight about it. So we stopped and got some air freshener, and that seems to be helping. So that's it for day one. So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to start stupidly early again tomorrow morning and start the next leg of our trip, which is 8.5 hours to Memphis, Tennessee. So we hope you'll come along with us. See you tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. So I forgot to do this back in the hotel, so you're getting a car log today. It is just after 6 o'clock. We are getting on the road for our next stop, which is Memphis, Tennessee. What did we say it was? 650 miles today?
All I remember is hours, which is about
8.5 hours. So we are driving the width of Kentucky, which will be a long drive, but that's okay. I am very much looking forward to seeing horses and bluegrass. And at the end of it, we are meeting a friend of ours. He lived with us for a few months just before COVID and had to move out in a hurry and left a bunch of his stuff. With changes that are going on in my house, we need to get that stuff out of the house. So I have loaded it all up and we are taking it down to him, including his electric guitar. So, because when you're in Memphis, you got to be making music, right? So, probably the more significant place in relation to this ridiculous road trip is we are going to the Bass Pro Pyramid, which is a giant pyramid the size of the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, which I believe you can see from space, which is home to one of the biggest outdoor reel vendors in the country. There's mountains inside this thing, there are flowing rivers, there is a restaurant at the top of the pyramid. It is the most ridiculous place I've ever considered going, and I've been to its sister store, the Cabela's store in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. So, but we've got to do a lot of driving. Oh, and there will be barbecue in Memphis. I told Crow's not a fan of barbecue, but I said we are not going to Memphis and not having barbecue. So we're gonna make it work. But there's macaroni and cheese, so they'll be happy. All right, so it is dark 30. I'm gonna pay attention to the road so I don't run this red light, and we'll see you as we travel. Just off Highway 65. I think it's probably about an hour north of the Tennessee border. Kentucky has been lovely. I especially like the eastern part of the state where it's all rolling hills and woods, and it's just been lovely. We have gained an hour because we have just crossed the time zone line. So we are now in Central Time, and I keep looking at my watch and thinking we're running late, and we really aren't. We are on track to be in, unless we stop for a long lunch, we are on track to be in Memphis by about 2 o'clock. So we're doing really well. Car's holding up well. The kids have been sleeping the whole day, so I've been catching up on podcasts. So, but Kentucky's been good. Let's go see what Tennessee looks like. All right, so we're well into Tennessee. We just finished going around Memphis, and let me tell you, Tennessee drivers are crazy, y'all. And I'm used to New Jersey and Boston drivers. I was going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and I still had people riding up my ass and flashing their lights at me. Phew. Nashville was scary. I don't know that I'm looking forward to Memphis. We've got about 175 miles. There's Ken. Got about 175 miles yet to Memphis. So we're going to do another hour or so, see where we want to stop for lunch. But with the time change, we're still on track to get there around 2:30. So let's see what else we see. I don't know what can top the dinosaurs, though. Welcome everyone to Memphis, Tennessee and the Bass Pro Pyramid. As my children are into weird kitschy things, and this is where we're at. This thing is huge. I don't know if you can see up at the very top, there's a platform for people to go out and stand. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go out on that landing because you know how I am with heights, but let's go up and get a look.
So here we are at the top of Bass Pro Fishing Pyramid. Right in there is the restaurant, and we are higher up than the Statue of Liberty, so it's really high. Mom is not here as she was too scared of heights. Ken, however, able to get over that fear. That is the view from way down.
And that's it for our time in Memphis. We'll be leaving very early tomorrow morning, so we won't get to see much more, but at least we got to come down and see the Mississippi for a little bit. There's a lot to see here, and I wish we had more time, but such was not to be this trip. I am glad that just by pure happenstance we did get to go to the Lorraine Motel location and pay homage and show our respects. And I was horrified to hear from the kids that they hadn't known anything about when that had happened, when Dr. King was assassinated or where. So it was good to be able to introduce them to that. But we're going to take one last stab to see if we can get up Beale Street. It was all shut down for a fire location when we were coming through earlier, but we'll see if we can get up there and then head back, put our heads down because we've got to get up again very early tomorrow morning. Have a good night, everybody. Alright, so here we are. It is once again coming up on, well, 6 o'clock our time, but 7 o'clock Memphis time, and it is raining. So we are closing up and getting on the road. We have had a lovely visit here in Memphis. Didn't do a whole lot else after I signed off last night, except went home and went straight back to bed. The motel was much better last night. Except we couldn't get towels. So today's trip is not quite as adventurous. We are driving the length of Tennessee today to go to Blacksburg, Virginia, the home of Virginia Tech and the home of my mother and my sister and her family. So I don't know how much there will be to see, but we'll go along and see it. Made it to Blacksburg, and
You're too close to me.
Most specifically to my mother's house. Mother, look at the camera.
Hi.
For those of you who watch these videos on a regular basis, she's the reason I'm making them at all. So everyone say thank you to Grammy. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of our visit. We're just going to be spending time with family. We're at my sister and brother-in-law's at the moment, and we're going to go to nursery tomorrow and do some sightseeing, and Wednesday we're going to sleep in as long as we humanly can, and then do the 7 hours back to Pennsylvania. So thank you very much for coming this far, and I look forward to seeing you next video when I will be back out on the Appalachian Trail with Deb. So let's see how much of that we can get done. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.